Stitchers, Calico here with an update video for, what is it, the beginning of June. I didn't think it was going to take me this long to make another video, but it did, and so that means I have lots to show you. So let's see, I'm trying to think the last time I videoed, it was before Easter, because I was getting ready. I think I had showed a stash of a spring Easterish project that I was getting ready to start. And if I remember correctly, my intentions for after that video was to, let's see, did I finish my flower of the month for that month? I had asked a question about, oh yeah, I had asked everybody about your opinion on if I should call my March flower a jonquil or a daffodil. And thank you all for everybody that responded. There were a few that said jonquil, but I think the majority thought I should call it a daffodil. So that's what I'm going to do. But it's sort of a moot point right now because I haven't done any of the name stitches yet. And I'll probably save that to the end because that project, I'm kind of waffling now on how I want to finish it. So, but we'll get to that when I get to that. So what I have to show in this video is two finishes, a small, very small, and a medium finish. Let's see, I've got 1, 2, 3 works in progresses, and then at the end I'm going, okay, sorry about that. And then at the end I'm going to show a little bit of a haul that I got. Oh, and another little other sort of crafty project that I just started up yesterday that I'm having fun with. And I can see me getting a little carried away with it, so I'll talk about that at the end. Okay, so first things first. A little finish that I did that I just was, I don't know why I just did this. One day, sometimes you just feel like doing a little project, and I was searching for some I think I was searching online for some free patterns. But anyway, I came across this little robin right here that it's, oh, I could probably put a link, but I think if you just do, I mean, if you really want it, you can just let me know. I just did a search for free bird patterns. I can't talk. Free bird patterns. I've only had a half a cup of coffee so far. Cut me some slack, and it's early. So anyway, this is just a cute little design. I think I altered it a little bit because I think something looked weird about the neck. And anyway, it's cute. And oh, I remember why I did it, because I'll show you. It has to do with something I'll talk about at the end of my video. It has to do with that little, the little font there that I used. Oh, I think that's what I was doing. I was searching for fonts to use for my flower of the month, and then came across free pattern. I don't know how I came up with this. I don't even know why I stitched it, but it's cute. And I just did it in an evening. So let's see. So that was one finish. Another finish I did. So my last video, my intentions were to continue on with my flower of the month, to stay on track with that, and then I was going to well, if you remember, I was working on my Blue Jays birdhouse, and as you can see, I didn't even touch that since the last video. So no progress was done on this. So I think my intention was to finish my flower for the flower of the month, and then I was going to take a break and work on my spring project that I had showed the haul for in my last video. And then I was going to get right back to this because I was loving working on this, and I couldn't wait to get back to it. But plans change, and I never even touched it, but you'll see why. I really want to get back to this, though. I love it. So, next thing I did then, so I did right after that video, I think I started it that day. I started stitching on this, and it is so cute. I love it. Oh, and I had big plans to make a pillow out of it, and I didn't. But isn't that cute? So, this was in the... I showed it in my last video. Sorry. There we go. There we go. That's better. Can you see that okay? that was in the Just Cross Stitch magazine, and I can't remember the issue. If you really want to know, I talked about it in my video right before this, the one where I was sitting in my car. So I just loved this, and the colors are not showing up on here, but that pink and that blue are just so cute. So anyway, gosh, I'm drawing a blank on who the designer is on this. Anyway, information on that is in my previous video, and that was a very quick and easy finish, and I finished it before Easter. So that is that. And then, so I was going to get back to the Blue Jays, and I ended up, I was looking through my stash for something. I think I was cleaning it out, and I came across a really old whip that I had started. It was this kit right here that I started, I think in maybe 2011. I had received this as a gift for Christmas, and it came with 14 count white Aida, and I started working on it. I wonder if I have my, yes I do. So back in 2011, I believe it was, I started working on it, and I got about this much done. So it's kind of the center, it's the center birdhouse roof, and it has fractional stitches in it that I found very difficult to do on linen, because I mean on Aida, because I hadn't actually ever done fractional stitches before. So I really found this kind of a difficult project to work on, and I put it away into the pile of I'll get back to that some other day pile, and it's been in there a long time. So in the back of my mind, I've always thought, I know I need to get a nice piece of linen, even weave, to work on that project with. So that being said, I have no idea why I decided this. I think I was just looking through my stash, and I was looking at my whips, and I realized, yeah, I haven't worked on that yet. I never ordered any fabric for that. I said, I should order some fabric. I should order a really nice, maybe hand-dyed fabric, or, you know, now that I'm starting to delve into the hand-dyed fabric and floss a little bit more, I thought maybe I should order a cute background fabric for that. And then I started looking at it, and I couldn't decide what kind of fabric to use, because if you can't really tell from here, but right around the background there's kind of some half stitches that kind of have the color of, you know, like the spring, I think it's just kind of a light blue, and then there's more of a blue here, and then the fall it's kind of yellow. And I thought, you know, I don't want that to get lost in a hand-dyed fabric, and I didn't know what to choose because each season kind of had a different color to it, so I didn't want to do something that was just, I mean, I could have probably done all blue, but I don't know. I had chickened out. That's basically it. I don't know. I went with white. White. You can't go wrong with white, I guess. So I got white. I bought a piece of white fabric for that, and that is actually was 32 count white Lugana. So pretty boring, but that's what I went with. And I was just going to get the fabric for that and just so it would be ready. And then when I got it, I was looking at it and I thought, you know, I really need to stitch that. So completely unexpected, I went ahead and did the first season. Spring. Because after all, it's spring, right? So there it is. And you can see I went a little bit even into summer. And I was pretty sure there is a lot of fractional stitches and a lot of back stitching in this. So, but this looks like probably the most time consuming season, just because of all the flowers and the nest and stuff like that. But I thought that really turned out cute, and I'm really happy that I dug out an old whip, really old whip from my stash, and worked on it. So yay me! So let's see, what did I do after that? Oh, so then let's get on to my flower of the month and see how I'm progressing with that. So I don't know if I had finished the daffodils. I don't know if I finished the daffodils in the last video, if I started or if I was in the middle of it. I can't remember. But in case or maybe I did finish it. I don't remember. But anyway, here's the first 3 that I did. So we've got the carnations, the violets, and the daffodils for January, February, and March. And then I got the sweet peas for April and the lily of the valley for May. Now, this one is the only one that I didn't finish within the month. I had it almost finished, and I think I finished it up a couple days ago, so kind of going into the beginning of June. But I did already have the border for June done, so technically I'm doing pretty good. I'm staying on track with this. And so let's show you the whole thing so far. I know a lot of you are working on this, so it's not anything you haven't seen before, but so that's how that looks so far. So as you can see, I'm going to put the names of the flowers. I left a space right here. So I'm doing a little bit different because instead of doing each one bordered and then having a space between, they're sharing a border, and then I went ahead and made the boxes a little bit longer so that I could put the names underneath. And I think I had talked about that before. So, and I was struggling with what color floss to use for the font, and somebody on the Facebook group I've noticed, and I can't remember who you are, if you're watching this, you were doing each color, I think for the month or the name of the flower, in sort of a coordinating color of floss with that flower. And I thought that was a great idea, so I'm going to totally do that. Like pink here, maybe pick one of the blues to put the font here, and one of the darker yellows. So yeah, I'm getting ready to start June, and I already have my little floss colors picked, and they're these gorgeous peach colors, which I love. This one took me a little while because I made a mistake. It's not a very obvious one, and that's why I didn't do it, but once I point it out, you'll see it. So I went ahead beforehand, and I had done the borders for this month, so actually this flower is supposed to go out into the border a little bit, but I had already done the border, so mine end at the border. So when I went to go start stitching it, sorry, my screensaver keeps coming on. This right here, if you look, I went in 1 row too far with that border. So you can tell, obviously, when oops, covering up my microphone. Can you see? There's like one space bigger here than there is there. Not a real noticeable thing. And I had done it, and I thought, I'm not going to change that. That's no big deal. So I thought, I'll just wing it. And so I started stitching, and I was doing some green, and then something wasn't jiving over here. And I thought, what is going on? So if you look, where's it at? Oh, now I don't see it, now that I'm looking at it. That's weird. I thought I went down too far here, but I'm lining up. That's weird. I don't know what I did wrong. Wow. I thought I had not only gone in a row too far here, but I thought I had gone down too far a row there. But now that I see it's lined up, oh, maybe I messed up there. I don't know. I don't know what I did wrong, but I know that I count too many rows there. Okay, sorry, you don't need to hear me thinking out loud. Point is, I know I should know this by now because I've been stitching for a while. When you make a little mistake like that border and it's off a row, and you think to yourself, that's okay, I can work around it. I'll just, somewhere in here, I'll just squish everything together and make up for that row, or somewhere where it's not noticeable. But I should know by now that it's never that easy. You have a little mistake like that, and especially because it's not that long, it wouldn't be that much work to just unstitch that and stitch it again. And that's I've learned that you should just do that, because little mistakes like that, they're kind of like the butterfly effect. It's like, oh, I'm 1 row off, I'll just make up for it. Well, I don't know what it was. If you could see, this isn't really a pattern that you can just leave out a row, because wherever you leave out a row, it's going to be pretty noticeable. The flowers are going to look all wonky. So I thought, okay, I'm going to stitch the flowers, because those are the one thing that I don't want to be distorted, and then I'll just make up for it in the leaves. It ended up just being so difficult. This entire thing was just off, and I had to wing it every stitch I did. I had to wing it and make it look to where it didn't look like I left a row out. But you know, I don't know why I'm not seeing it now, but when I counted this way, I know that this box ended up being a row too big. So I was not only off a row this way, I was off a row this way. It was so aggravating. I mean, I may as well just like design the thing myself the way I had to wing it, you know, with the leaves. But I knew that it was a flower, and I knew that when all was said and done, nobody would be able to notice that mistake. So, but it was aggravating, and it actually almost lost my stitchy bug over that. I just completely just didn't feel like stitching. When you have something like that that's just bugging you, you know, I thought, but I'm not going to give up on this. I've been staying on track with it, doing each flower in the month that it's due, and I persevered, and like I thought, you can't even tell. So that's where I am with that. About the finishing of this, I had intended to just make a big wall hanging and just keep on continuing down. And then I had this idea, maybe I should make a cushion out of it. And what I would do is, on the first half of the cushion, have the first 6 months of the year. And then you turn the cushion over, and you would have the second 6 months of the year. It'd be like a kind of a reversible cushion. You can just keep it displayed, you know, for those flowers, and you know, and I may still do that. I had mentioned that idea to my husband, and he said, well, why don't you just make 2 separate pillows and just have them all displayed at the same time? And I thought, yeah, that probably makes more sense. I can have one on each side of the couch, and I don't know if I would have my flower pillows on my couch all year round anyway, because I have other pillows that I kind of seasonally change. So yeah, I'll probably do 2 cushions. But I have to make a decision if for sure I'm going to make a cushion, 2 separate cushions, or, you know, 1 cushion with both on the side. Because if so, before I start stitching, I'm going to have to leave a gap so that I can obviously cut this, and you know, I don't want it connected right there. So I'm for sure going to leave a little bit of a gap so that I can do that with it. And I have to make sure that I have enough fabric left to do that, and I think I do, because I think this was a little like on the longer side. So anyway, once again, thinking out loud, that's what my plan is for that, to make 2 cushions or to make 1 cushion. But isn't that a good idea? Put a cushion, you know, like 1 flowers, you know, 6 of them on one side and 6 of them on the other, and yeah, I thought that was kind of a neat idea. I'm sure I'm not the only one that's thought of that, but in my mind, I feel like it was a kind of original idea. So, enough babbling about that. So, I was working on that. Everything was going well. I'm like, oh, I can't wait to get back to my blue jays. Can't wait to get back to my blue jays. As soon as I finish this, I'm going to get back to those blue jays. That was my intention. And then I was watching a video, and forgive me if I get your name wrong. I'm 99.9% sure your name is Jennifer Apodaca. And I love your videos, by the way. And I've been meaning to leave a comment to tell you that you've enabled me with your, what's it called? Honey Bear project that you're working on. And I saw that and I thought, oh, that is really cute. I'm going to have to get that. And then I sort of forgot about it. And then I was looking on Facebook, because I belong to the Finished Works by Dimensions Facebook page, which I love. Is terrible, though, because I just want to buy them all. So I was on there, and somebody had finished that one. And once again, I thought, oh, that is really cute. I need to get that. So I went searching online for it, and I couldn't find it. Oh, no, I found it on Amazon. What was odd about it, though? I had found it on Amazon Prime. For some odd reason, I went searching elsewhere for it, which I don't know why, because I usually, if something's on Amazon Prime, yeah, it was a little pricier than I thought. That's what it was. Usually I can get, like, patterns on, especially dimensions patterns on Amazon. I mean, they're just, like, cost you hardly anything, plus you don't have to pay shipping, and I thought, oh, this was a little expensive. That's weird. So I started searching elsewhere online for it, and I looked on eBay, I looked everywhere. I scoured the internet, and I could not find that pattern anywhere else except on Amazon, and it said that there was only one left in stock. So I can't remember what I paid for it, but I feel like I paid almost maybe $29 or $30 for it, which is, you know, for a dimensions kit, that was a lot. I really shouldn't have spent that much money on it, but I had to have it. And then, you know, when it's like, you think it's the last one left, then for sure you have to have it, because you think, somebody's going to snatch this up and I'll never see it again, because it appears to be out of print. It's a pretty old, it says 2002, it says 2001 on, oh, I should probably show you what I'm talking about. This one. Sorry. So it's this really cute little bear. And there's not, believe it or not, guys, there's not a bird in this pattern. Can you believe it? I'm stitching something that doesn't have a bird on it. But anyway, I just fell in love with it. And I'm not much of a teddy bear stitcher either. Excuse me. I don't usually go for teddy bear kind of things, you know, but I mean, they're cute, but I just personally don't just gravitate usually toward that type of stitching. So anyway, but I fell in love with this, and you know what grabbed me on this? And I don't know if you can tell really from these colors, but I love I don't know about you, but when I look at a cross stitch project that has a feel to it, that I just want to stare at that picture forever, and I think, you know, why is it? What is it that I like about that? Excuse me. Something in my throat. Got a frog in my throat. Just stay away from my stitching, frog. Anyway, when I look at this picture, it just reminds me of sort of that late afternoon, I don't know, the sun's low in the sky, and you've got, you know, kind of what's that vintage feel of sort of days gone by. I love the rusty old wagon and the jars of honey and the rusty old watering can. I love that watering can. I'm just kind of obsessed with watering cans at the moment. So I just love the whole feel of this. So I like to take pictures. I'm sort of just an amateur photographer, and I love to take pictures, and any photographer will tell you that that late afternoon sun, kind of referred to as the golden hour, is just it's like the best time to take pictures. You just capture something really special with the golden hour of sunlight. And when I look at this picture, it's like, yeah, that captured it. You know, you got that late afternoon sun and the long shadows. Anyway, I just had to have this. So then I ordered it. I went ahead and I ordered it, and sure enough, it didn't come back up on Amazon again. I mean, I literally think I got the last copy of this that was available. That was a couple weeks ago, and I haven't checked. But anyway, so I got it in the mail, got it in Amazon 2 days later, and I'm going to just hold that thought. I'll get back to you on that. But I'm thinking of Amazon, and I discovered something about Amazon. If you guys like to shop Amazon, and I'm not affiliated with them at all, this is just really cool. There's a thing, and you may have already known about it. I was just found out about it. It's called Amazon Smile. And if you log into Amazon, I think it's like smile.amazon.com, and what you can do is you can choose a charity of your choice, and there's thousands of them. I picked a local charity, but every time you shop on Amazon Smile, they donate, I think it's 0.5% to a charity. And the prices aren't any different. I mean, it's just like shopping on Amazon. Now, I don't know with Amazon UK if they have something like this. This is definitely something that I think you can do. I don't know for sure, but if you're like me and you like to donate to charities, then this is perfect. So every time I log into Amazon, I go to Amazon Smile instead. And as far as I can tell, everything I've ever wanted to buy on Amazon has been eligible for Amazon Smile. So bonus, you get to shop on Amazon and you get to donate to your charity at the same time. So I think that's pretty awesome. If you haven't heard about it, check it out. It's really easy to sign up for, and it's really easy to go up to the top and pick a charity that you like. So, okay, back to what I was saying. I received this, and I noticed, because it's in older dimensions, that the floss wasn't sorted. So it's been a while since I've had to sort floss in a dimensions kit, but it wasn't difficult at all. They had it bundled in some, bundles that didn't have too many similar colors, and it was pretty obvious what was what. So I started sorting the floss, and I thought, I really want to stitch this. and it was kind of later in the evening, and I have to stitch this. Now, it came with 14 count brown Aida, and I don't typically like to stitch on 14 count, not because I have anything against it, because I've done some great stuff on 14 count Aida. It's just that the project ends up being a little bigger than I like. My taste now is for smaller stitches, so I really love 18 count. But the desire to stitch the desire to stitch this project just became overwhelming, and that evening I just said, I'm just going to do the fabric that came with the kit. And if you look, another thing I was thinking, I mean, I would definitely had to have done brown Aida, because a lot of this area in between, like the wood back here, is not stitched, so that's actually the color of the Aida. So I couldn't just, pick like another 18 count in my stash. I mean, I think it needs to be that color that came with the kit. I could have maybe used my 18 count oatmeal Aida that I love so much that I'm using on the Blue Jay. Let's see. I think it would have looked fine, because it's kind of a natural color, and as you can see, it probably would have looked okay, would have given the wood. But I thought, I'm going to go with what came with the kit. 14 count at all. So I decided to start it that night. Now I was just going to work on a little bit and then get back to my Blue Jays, and I stitched like gangbusters on this thing. And this was the beginning of May, when everybody was doing their Stitch Mania, and I resisted the temptation to do Stitch Mania, but I tell myself, even though I didn't do Stitch Mania, I stitched like a maniac, so maybe that counts for something. I stitched like a maniac on just this one project. Guys, look at how much I've got done on this. Isn't it great? I just love it. And I'm back stitching as I go along, so that I don't have that for the end. So right away I just did there's some French knots over here, and I was going to go down this half and save the bear for last, but my son, he's like, Mom, you need to get to the bear. You need to get to the bear. And I said, okay, we'll get to the bear. I'll get to the bear and give him his eyes and his nose. And then so I just sort of worked my way over to the bear. And now he has a face. I don't know how it looks. Right now it looks like I have kind of a blue overcast on everything, so this isn't kind of capturing the nice vintage brown sunny feel that it has, but I love this project, and I really enjoyed working on it. And just as soon as I finished up my Lily of the Valley, I went back and started stitching on this again. And then I was at the craft store buying some floss for my next flower of the month, and I came across a little booklet of another craft that's not really related to cross stitching, except it does have one commonality, and I started working on that little project yesterday, which I'll keep at the end of the video in case somebody's not interested in that. You can click off, but that sort of pulled me away from this for the last couple of days. So I'll get to that at the end. But anyway, let's move on. That's all the works in progresses I have since our last video. And so, stash, I did buy a little bit. I didn't go too overboard, but I bought this kit. This has been in my wish list forever. And I bought this because, remember I told you I was kind of on a watering. Do you guys do that? You get on a theme of something and you're like, I have to buy every pattern that has that in it. And right now it's watering cans. I don't know why I'm just obsessed with watering cans. Probably because I'm getting back into my gardening again, and I just love this. But it's been in my wish list for a while because it's a stamped project, and I didn't have good experience the first time I tried to do a stamped project. I think my first video, I talk about my chickadees on a branch, which was a stamped project, but I ended up just stitching the pattern on even weave, and it turned out perfect. And I thought, you know what, I can do that with this too. I just forget the stamped, and I'll stitch it on even weave. So I love this, and I'm always looking at it, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to get it. Well, there's a bit of a problem, and I'm not going to open this because I don't think I'll ever stitch this. and I may give it away at some point. I don't know. But if you can see right here, the fabric actually has color printed on it, like the grass color and the blue over here. So not only is it just stamped on, I mean, it's not just stamped on plain fabric, so I can't easily just move it on because it clearly relies on the color on the fabric to kind of make the design. So what I'm thinking is it's all this green sort of mossy area, and like, you know, just around here. I mean, these are going to be stitched, but I don't know. I have to decide, would it look bad if I didn't stitch that green part? And, you know, just, I haven't opened it up to look at the fabric, like I said, because I may give this away, so I want it to be completely intact if I do give it away, not like somebody's rummaged through it. So I really can't tell to what extent the fabric is printed. But I'm really disappointed in that because I really like it, and, you know, yeah, I think all this kind of hue in the background, the blue and the green, is all on the fabric, which I'm bummed about because I won't do a stamped project. I didn't have good luck the last time I tried, so I'm not going to try again. Okay, so that's one thing I got. And then, once again, shopping on Amazon, smile, because now, hey, I'm donating to a charity too. Not only am I buying cross-stitching stuff, but I actually was in the craft store and I came across this pattern. Let's try not to get the glare. It's a Debbie Mum, and it's just this little hanging, little banner, and I fell in love with it. It's so cute, and the craft store was selling it for $12.99, and so I got onto Amazon, Smile, and they were selling it for $9.99, and that's no shipping. So I thought, oh, I'll just get it from there. So when I got home, I put it in my cart. Oh, and look at this. It even comes with the hanger. It comes with the hanger and the floss and just a little fabric. And now the piece of fabric is not shaped like a banner. I kind of thought maybe it was, and you just stitch it on there, but it's not. You actually have to do some cutting and folding over in the back, and excuse me, my nose itches. And, you know, you have to, I don't know, there's some kind of vague instructions on how to turn it into a banner, but I'm sure I can wing it. Anyway, so I got on and I saw this one and realized it's one of a series of 4. I should have known because it's called Mini Banner Fall. So, like any person who likes to do seasonal stitches like me, I had to buy them all. So, there we go. We've got summer, little frog, really cute. Spring, birdhouse, so you know I had to have that. And last but not least, winter with Christmas and Santa. So aren't those cute? They are full coverage, but no, I take it back. I don't think they're full coverage. This one actually comes with black Aida, which I swore I would never stitch on again, but I can probably handle it for something that small. So, yeah. Those are a nice, completely unnecessary addition to my stash. So, that's that. And I also found, I've been wanting to try this, give this a try, and it was on clearance at Hobby Lobby. It's the, is it water soluble? It's the wash away grid line that you can stitch onto something that's not Aida. And it was on clearance, actually. This normally was $15, and I got it for like $5.40. So, good deal there. I'm going to try that. And the reason I'm going to try that is because I was, oh, I should show you. Okay. Anyway, the reason I was thinking of trying that, okay, well, I'll get to that. Hold on. Oh, God, I don't know what I'm thinking sometimes. The reason I got it is because I bought a book. on Amazon called Cross Stitch Motif Series 3, and it's just borders. And somebody has, maybe somebody on Flosstube has bought this already. I know I don't feel like I was enabled by anybody with this one. I just sort of came across it and I thought, oh, that's pretty neat. You can just stitch borders on things. So I was making some neck warmers, the ones that you fill with flaxseed. They're kind of long and you can put them around your neck. And I thought, oh, how neat it would be to make one of those and then stitch a cute little border on that. So I don't know, or towels or whatever. I just was looking at this book and there is some really, sorry, screensaver again. There are some really neat borders on here. I'll show you a few. Like, here's an example of just some peacocks. See, aren't those neat? Each one of those is a separate border. Oops, I need to make sure I'm not showing you the patterns. Okay, yeah, these are just the pictures. So just here's an example. I mean, there's flowers. There is just all kinds of neat borders in here. So what they do is it's kind of broken up into seasonal things. Let me see. Some butterflies. So basically they have kind of a page that shows the different borders and then all the patterns follow. So here's another one. Just now some of these you can tell would be really time consuming borders to do, but let me look. Lots of flowers. Oh, look at this rose. These roses. I mean, that would take forever to stitch. But it's so pretty. I mean, you could even just do, a couple of the flowers or just do a corner or something like that. I mean, I don't know. I didn't really have any particular use for it. I just thought it was really a neat book. So it's by Maria Diaz, and I think she has some other books too. Oh, look at the shoes and all the different china and the fans, the grapes, purses and shoes. So cute. There's also just some real neat geometric ones too. Like, oh, look at these, kind of have like isn't that cool? Hadn't intended on showing the whole book. Oh, some more just geometric. I mean, you can find so many uses for these, for borders, especially if you like to design your own cross stitch. That was cool. There's just some really neat. So anyway, once again, this is the book. And here's the back, just to show you more. So I'm going to attempt to do my water-soluble grid line, my water-soluble Aida or wash-away Aida, and put something maybe on my neck warmer that I made. Or a t-shirt, who knows. That's my plan anyway. And then I think it was Crafty Kara that enabled me to get this alphabet chart, because I really want to pick a font out of here to use for my flower of the month. So she went through this whole book and kind of showed it, so I won't do that again, but really some neat fonts. And I think, oh, that's why I picked out the one to do in my little robin that I said I would get to, the booklet that I picked a font out of here, and I went and practiced doing one on there. So yeah, there's a lot of neat alphabets in here. Some are very time intensive, as you can tell. They're kind of a design in their own. So, and I think that's the only thing that I have added to my stash since the last time. So, not too bad, not too bad. While I was at the craft store yesterday, though, so I'm done talking about cross stitching. You can tune out now. I'm not going to talk much more in general because I think I'm getting to be pretty long here. I can never be under 40 minutes for these things. Anyway, back when I was in junior high, and I'm sure a lot of you before have made friendship bracelets. And I know those are kind of, I don't have daughters, I just have boys, but, you know, my boys, even my boys have made, you know, got on the kick with these things that everybody's making. And my son, hold on a second here. You know, my son made me a couple of these, and, you know, it's kind of funny, all these boys on the hockey team were making these, and they were making them in like their team colors and stuff like that. So, but anyway, the old friendship bracelets, the macrame that I used to do back in junior high, when I go to craft shows, I see those everywhere, and I thought I need to make those again. Those were really fun. I really enjoyed making those back, back in the 70s. I know my mom, she was a big macrame-er. She used to macrame like crazy, those big planters, and I remember she macrameed a hanging thing that had a lamp in the top and like a glass that you can set a plant on. I mean, yeah, and wall hanging, this like macrame thing took up like our entire basement wall. And she did a lot of macrame and a lot of crafting, but I remember I kind of already knew how to macrame, and I remember how much I missed it. And then when I was making those little bracelets, long story short, I was in the craft store and I was looking for something to spend my coupon on because everything else I was buying was on sale. So I came across this friendship bracelets, Beyond the Basics, and I thought, oh, those are so cute, I need to do that. And they take embroidery floss, which I love, so that's why I'm saying it's not completely related, but look at that. I love that. That's just like my kind of style jewelry, you know. Some women like diamonds and, you know, really expensive jewelry, you know. Make me something with embroidery floss and a few dangling beads, cheap beads, and I'm good to go. So I bought this yesterday or the day before yesterday, and I just delved right in, and I actually, because I was buying floss for my next flower of the month, which is, I don't remember what the June flower is, but it's peach, and I loved the colors of floss I was buying, and I just decided to make a friendship bracelet. So this is the one I made, and it's got some mistakes in it, and then it has a little button closure on it. So anyway, I love that. I could just see myself filling my arm with these things. I mean, I just love these. So I decided to try to make this peacock one next because it's like the color of peacock feathers, which I think is so cute. And for the life of me, I couldn't get it to look right. And then I realized that I was using 5 colors and it called for 4. And that's why mine wasn't turning out. So I winged it, and I actually just made up my own design with it. And I'm sure I'm not the only one to come up with this design. It's just I didn't follow a pattern. I just sort of made it look. I'm just basically using the colors of a peacock feather, but this is the one I'm doing right now. Those colors, oh, aren't those great? I just picked them from my stash, and they're basically peacock feather colors. So anyway, it's a much easier design, but yeah, I sort of just kind of winged it on how to do the little thing in between there, like that, the triangle. But these are so fun, guys. I mean, I don't know, very therapeutic. I could just sit there with my clipboard and just macrame away. And I'm going to go to the craft store today to buy beads, and I'm going to make some with beads. And yes, as I look at my cross stitching and see it calling to me, my cross stitching is saying, are we going to get neglected? So I don't know how long I'll be doing these. I may show my next video may be just a whole bunch of bracelets and no progress on my stitching, but I doubt that'll happen, especially if I go as long as I did between videos like I did this last time. So that is about it. I think I've covered everything that I have to show you since my last video. So thank you and welcome to all my new subscribers. Sorry I took a while getting a video out to you, but now it's summertime and I'm going to be busy, so I wouldn't doubt it if it goes another couple of months, and I probably won't see you till August, knowing me. So, unless I've got something really exciting to show. Anyway, that is about all I have to say. I hope that everybody has a great stitching day, and I can't believe that no lawnmowers went on this entire video out here. I thought for sure that was going to happen. So, yeah, it was pretty quiet. So, that's all for now. I hope everybody has a great stitching day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.